Do you see all of this? They're innocent until they really aren't. Today, we're going to talk about food fidgeting and how this concept can really come in the way of that health journey that you have decided to take on to yourselves. Hi, I'm Anupama Menon, a precision nutrition expert. Please do not forget to comment, like, and share our videos. Now, what's food fidgeting? Actually, it's been there in your life forever, and it is probably something that you're not really aware of. So, as you continue to watch this video, you're gonna have those thought bubbles which say, oh, this is why I'm not able to lose that weekly weight that I had set myself as a target for. Now, what exactly is food fidgeting? You have your breakfast, then you have your lunch, you have your dinner, and in between, you may have two snacks, one in between your breakfast and your lunch and one between your lunch and your dinner. Now, when you have these meals or these snacks, there's a purpose of satisfying your hunger, which is absolutely okay because it is the energy from that food that keeps you going. Now, what do we do in between these? You're crossing the dining table and you see a piece of apple and you take it and put it into your mouth. Are you really hungry at that point? No. Do you really need the energy from that apple at that point? No. And you're just reaching out to those extra calories, which might be just about this might not even be 20-25 calories, but you take it and you put it into your mouth. And then what happens inside your body is that in between two meals, when there is a 2.5 hour gap, your body is slowly burning those calories that you don't need because you're walking, you're working, you're talking, you're doing other things other than focusing on digestion. The minute you take this piece of apple and put it into your mouth, the body's focus shifts from that microcalorie burn to actually digesting that little bit of food that you've put into your body. It goes through a tremendous process of work just for these 20-25 calories, also taking the time away from what it could have actually done in terms of fat burn. And this is the biggest downfall of food fidgeting. The next time it could be a plate of makhana which your children have left over, and then you again take a few, hold it in your hand, and then you're walking around and you're just eating it. Or it could be nuts where you're thinking, oh, this is actually healthy, I can eat it. But are you eating it at a time when you actually need it? No. Then that's food fidgeting. It could be just some bhujia, it could be a protein bar which is actually supposed to be healthy, it could be an apple, it could be a muffin, it could be makhana, it could be just about anything. Now remember, there is a definition of junk. What is your definition of junk? Anything that is excess in sugar, excess in oil, excess in additives, preservatives, salt, anything that your body does not need. Now, that does not have to be only your extra fried or your extra sweet stuff. It can also be calories that is coming from healthy food that you don't need at that point. For example, at lunch, you need 2 rotis and you're satisfied with it. You're not hungry beyond that point, but then you eat the third roti only because of greed or because you're sitting around with everybody and you need some kind of olfactory satisfaction. So then what happens is that extra third roti that you've eaten is junk. Similarly, all of this, when you fidget on these, when you actually don't need it as a snack, the whole term junk becomes relative because it points out to those foods that you are eating when you actually don't need it. The practical tips. What can you actually do to stop this habit of food fidgeting? Pay attention to these 3 points. If you follow this, I am sure you'll be able to cut down food fidgeting at least by 80 to 90%. Okay, now point number 1. Remember, the brain centers for thirst and hunger, fortunately for you, is the same. So every time you feel like fidgeting, pick up a glass of water and drink. Allow 10 to 15 seconds to pass. Take a deep breath and trust me, that feeling will go away. Initially, you'll realize you'll have to drink a lot of water. That's perfectly okay. You'll be flushing out your toxins. Drink as much as water you want. They're 0 calories. Now point number 2. Every time that you food fidget in unawareness, write it down. Either put up a post-it on your refrigerator or put it down on an e-note if you are constantly outside, but put it down every time about what you're eating and how many times you're doing it in the day. Check as to how many times you fidgeted for the day and make a serious attempt to reduce the number of instances as you go by each day. I am sure from the 1st to the 30th of the month, if you do this regularly, you will see that you've cut it down in a single month by 50 to 60%. Last but not the least, you should try and understand how many calories you're getting from each of. So for example, from a handful of nuts, it might be about 150 calories. From maybe half a cup of makhana, it might be just about maybe 70, 80 calories. From a piece of apple, it might be only 20 calories. But from this supposed sugar-free muffin, you will still get about 200 calories. From 2 teaspoons of bhujia, maybe 75, 80, maybe even 100 calories. This is supposed to be healthy. So even from half of it, you're still getting about 80 calories. So the point is, ultimately, when you know how many calories each of these contain, and you're putting in an effort to exercise and follow a diet, you'll realize how many unnecessary calories you are consuming. Just add them up, and that itself will be a huge mind block or something that will stop you from fidgeting. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell button.